Hi folks, Maserati here again. Well, today we're going to be changing the serpentine belt and also the water pump stretch belt on my Maserati GT. Yes, I know the previous video I should have done it when I was doing the AC clutch removal and installation, but I wanted to make sure I had a separate video just so it wouldn't take up too much time because this is a pretty easy thing to do, and of course I'm here to save you guys a lot of money. Talking with Maserati, they want nearly $1,000 to change both belts. I was like, say what? You must be crazy. So anyhow, I'm going to show you how to change this for a fraction of the cost. I mean, just for the serpentine belt, Maserati wanted $200 for it. And for the water pump pulley belt, they wanted like $78, which was ridiculous. So anyhow, I went to Formula Dynamics, which is in Las Vegas, Nevada, online. That's where I get a lot of my Maserati parts from because they are very, very reasonable. And I got the belt for like $65 for the serpentine belt and about $58 for the water pump belt. But of course, you know, as you go online, you can find it cheaper too because there are Dayco belts. And as long as you have the right product number, you can get the same belts for probably even less than that, for maybe about $34 to $48, let's say. So anyhow, just like before we get started, we got to remove this front center engine panel. And as mentioned before, you have 19 T25 excuse me, screws that have to get removed out. And of course, as mentioned earlier before, you have some that are tucked in right here, hidden, and one underneath here. So don't forget about that. So I'm going to be using my drill driver with an attachment bit to remove it. But as mentioned before, put them in by hand, or if you're going to use that drill driver, make sure it's at a torque setting, a very low torque, so you don't end up stripping them. So let's get this off, and we'll go do this one at a time. Stand by. Okay, just to show you some of the tools that we're going to be utilizing here for this belt replacement project. As mentioned before, I have my drill driver with a T25 bit on it. Got a T25 driver, manual, screwdriver, flathead, a pry bar, just in case, you know, I'll show you some different ways of removing the belt. A ratchet with a half-inch extension, and I don't know what size I need for the crankshaft pulley bolt, but that's what we're going to be using to turn the crankshaft. So once we get that, I'll let you folks know. This right here is a 3/8 drive with a 15mm socket on it that we're going to use for the tension pulley to retract it. A pair of needle nose to help remove the band clamp for the air inlet filter housing assembly, and of course a band clamp tool to recompress it once we're done everything. Oh, and these things are pretty tricky here too. These right here are actually what they call flex belt removal and installation tools. They actually go onto the pulley, and then as you're turning it, it will actually force the belt off the pulley, stretch it and force it off. And you can see this one here says remove. And then you also have one that says install. So you can see how it's different. So when you go to install, it's actually going to slip the belt back onto the pulley once we're done. So we'll show you how to use those respectively. But you know, if your pulley is bad for your water pump, instead of just doing that, I just get a pair of utility cutters and just cut it and just remove it, so you don't even have to bother with that, and then just use the install one to install it. And right over here I have the belts, the main serpentine belt. Look for a Dayco part number 6PK1560S. And for the water pump, it's going to be a 4PK800. As mentioned before, don't get it from Maserati unless you want to take out a second mortgage for that ridiculous price that they're charging. You can definitely get it cheaper online. So let's take a look over here now. And just like before, we're going to be removing this air inlet box, your air filter. We're going to be removing the air inlet plenum ducts. Just this one we're going to remove. This one right here, we're just going to pop off to the side when we're done here. And then of course the band, we're going to be popping this band off so we can remove everything out here. And then of course your airflow sensor, just as before. We're just going to push it a little bit and just press down on the clamp, on the button a little bit, and you hear that little click. And she pops out, and we'll take that out of the way. And to remove your air box, the next step, I got a pair of needle nose and a screwdriver I'm going to use to pop this band clamp off. You have 3 clamps on the air box, and then this right here will remove out. And then back here, it's probably hard to see, but there is a 10mm bolt that comes out. So once that's out, we will remove the back of the air box to give us access to both pulleys assemblies. So we'll get this off and we will carry on. Well, I know it's hard to do things one-handed, but I just wanted to show you. For this band clamp, you see I have a screwdriver set there, and then basically I'm going to have my needle nose. I'm going to grab a hold of this end, and then I'm going to twist that screwdriver and pull on this, and that band's going to pop right off. And that's how you remove that. Okay, so with our band clamp now removed, and we got all of the air filter clamps hold on there removed, just push this back a little bit, pop that out, and we'll just remove that. And there's our air filter. We'll remove our air filter, get that out of the way. And the air box, like I said, the only thing that's holding that on, let me get my light so you can see it better here, is that 10mm bolt, which we're going to remove. And then also with these air inlet plenum ducts, as mentioned before, you just got 4 little tabs, just got to push in here, in here, and here with the screwdriver, and that will pop out. And the same with the other side. The left side we're going to leave popped out but not remove. The right side we're going to fully remove to remove the rear airbox assembly to give us access to the belts. Okay, as mentioned before, you want to make sure that you want to protect your front end, your front cowl, to make sure you either have a fender cover over top of it, or, you know, if you want to be bougie like me, you get this little funky towel, which works out perfectly. And of course, I didn't mention this in my last video, but a very thick, soft knee pad. Yes, got to be comfortable when you're doing this stuff, especially when you have band knees like myself. So anyhow, I just wanted to show you how these air inlet plenum ducts, left side's already just popped out, and the right side, like same thing. I had to got my 4 tabs. I push the tabs in and then pop that out, and then this right here will just pull right out, and we could remove it. All right, so the only thing left is that 10mm bolt that's behind here, and we'll get that out and we'll get this rear air box removed. Okay, my 3/8 ratchet and my 10mm deep socket. I got that bolt holding that air box in all the way out. And one thing to mention, there is a steel sleeve that's inside here. Make sure that doesn't drop out, or else you gotta start doing some fishing once you pull it out. I already did that already. So make sure your hand's on the bolt, and we'll pull the box forward. And as mentioned before, there's 2 pins, alignment pins, that are underneath this rear box that we just gotta move over to a little bit to the left, and we'll be able to get this thing out. So I'm gonna try to do this one hand. So you can see, that's out, a little to the left, and pull out. And there are those 2 alignment pins for the rear air box that I'm showing you. And they go, if you can see, right here and right over here. And there is our belts we're going to be removing. Stand by. Okay, so for the crankcase pulley bolt, which you see right there, of course I don't have any metrics that size, so I had to get the closest thing, which I tried, and it's going to be 1 inch and 7/16 3/4 inch socket. And as you can see here, I have an extension going to a 1/2 inch ratchet, which that's about 9 inches in depth, probably about 11 inches total front to back, so you have room. And one thing that I really like about this ratchet here, I got it from Harbor Freight. Gotta give credit to Pittsburgh Steel for making this, but you need some leverage to turn that crank because of compression. But this right here extends. You pull this little lever back, and this thing just extends plenty. So that's gonna give me a lot of leverage to turn on that crank to get that pulley off. So stand by and we'll get our tools and we'll see how this thing comes off. Okay, now I know I showed a pry bar earlier for this removal of the water pump belt. It's what people do sometimes, but I don't recommend it because I don't like prying on anything that unless it's really, really necessary. But what they do, they would put the pry bar in here, have it on a pulley assembly, and actually pull this out as they're cranking it. Of course, you're going to need 2 people to do that to remove this belt. And like I said, if you're going to be replacing the belt or not reusing it, just get some utility cutters, little cut, snip, snip, and you're done with it. You don't have to even worry about that. But this right here is our stretch belt removal tool. As you can see, it looks like it is like keyed, and basically that's going to be going on the pulley here. And then as I'm going to hold this in, of course, I'll show you maybe once I get it started, because I need two hands to do this. But this is going to force the belt out this way and allow it to pop off the crankshaft pulley assembly. So let me get my hands together and stand by. Okay, hopefully my phone doesn't fall when I'm showing you this, but I'm showing you how I have the tool wedged in and out, and you can see when I rotate it, it's actually going to be pushing this belt off the pulley. So hopefully I can do this without the phone falling off. And when you turn the crank, always go clockwise. You want to tighten, you want to go in a tightening position, because you don't want to loosen up that pulley bolt. And see how that thing is just sliding right off? And soon it should just pop right off. Just like that. Whoops. There we go. Easy peasy. Okay, as mentioned before, if you're not sure about the belt orientation, it's always good just to snapshot, take a few pictures of how the belt is orientated, how's it running through the pulleys. Because like I said, there's no diagram on this car. It's Gran Turismo 2009. Will others have it? I don't know, probably a newer version as well. So, but anyhow, what we got to do here, we got the tensioner pulley here. I got my 15mm socket with a 3/8 breaker bar. And then as you can see, as I push down on it, it loosens it up and I can pull the belt off. But since you need two hands to do this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to be pushing down on this to remove the tension off the belt. And then with a block of wood, I'm going to put it between this cross member and this breaker bar securely to hold the tensioner pulley out in place. And then that way I can remove the belt assembly. Okay, so you see I have the tension off of it. The tensioner pulley is retracted back. It's being held in place by this block of wood. So now I can simply remove the belt as such. Okay, so everything is off the alternator, the power steering, and the crankcase pulley is here. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to remove this and let the pulley retract back a little bit so I have room to take the whole belt assembly off. All right, so now I mentioned I just let this tension pulley just retract back, and then I was able to get the belt off, and it gives you plenty of clearance in this area here to remove your belt. Here we go. She is out. And one thing you want to check out too is while you have it out, check all of your pulleys. Give them a little wiggle wiggle. That way you get made it should be all nice and tight. If they're not tight, then that means you have bearing issues and you should replace them. But these are all looking good. Spinning freely, no noise, very tight. All right, so let's take a look at the belt that we removed, and then we'll get ready to do installation. Okay, so inspecting the main serpentine belt, even though my '09 Maserati Gran Turismo only has 25,000 miles on it, because it's basically I keep it as a showpiece and dinner date car for my lovely wife. So the belt is well over 10 years old, and you can see here, even though it doesn't have that many miles on it, because mainly with serpentine belts, if they're driven, you can get 60,000 miles out of them easy before they start to crack. But you see here, the cracks are here. So it's a good thing I decided to replace it, because these serpentine belts, when they go, they snap and they go, and then you're hosed. So let's take a look at the new belts, compare with the old belts, and then we'll start our reinstallation process. And of course, before installation with any new belts, we just want to make sure that they are the right size. Check the width, check the grooves, check the diameter, make sure everything is great, which these are. Of course, I used two hands and I stretched it out to make sure everything is correct. But both the new belts for the water pump and your main serpentine belt are the correct size. Let's get them installed. Okay, so now we got the main serpentine belt in. We checked the belt orientation for the alternator, power steering, AC compressor clutch, and the main crank. Everything is lined up correctly. You want to make sure that your grooves, that your flanges, that everything is set flush on all pulleys, which they are. So now the tension pulley, I'm going to release it. So basically, like I said, my wood block here. So I'm just going to press down on this and let the wood block drop out. Let's take out my light and slowly release. Grab my light here. So now this is slowly released out. Remove our 15 millimeter, and the main serpentine belt is now installed. And then of course we're going to go around and just double check the groove alignment again on all the pulleys, make sure everything is squared up correctly. But after that, we're going to move on with putting on the water pump belt. Okay, for the water pump stretch pulley belt, as mentioned earlier, we're going to need our installation tool. You see this right here, says, if you read it, install, and you see how it has like a little notch on it. We're going to put that on the crank pulley of this right here, and then we're going to get our belt. And of course, I'm going to stop this video so I can use two hands. I'm going to put the belt around that, and you see how it is tapered. So as I turn the crank, it's going to be pushing the belt, stretching it, and pushing it back onto this pulley. So let me get it set up, and I'll see if I can get a better camera shot, and we'll show you how it goes to install it. Okay, as you can see, I got my stretch belt installation tool installed, sitting on the groove of the pulley, and the taper part is on the belt. So now I put my 1 7/16 socket back on the main crank bolt, and then I'm going to go clockwise rotation like I'm tightening it, and this should wrap around and then stretch the belt and then pop everything right in place. So hopefully my phone doesn't fall. I'm doing this. Let's take a look. Look at that. Well worth the $9. And we are installed. So just keep cranking it until the tool comes out. Since it got tight on there, it's going to pop it a little bit. And we'll retrieve that. And we are now installed. Mission complete. Okay, so just doing this in reverse order. The rear air box, like I said, I had the 2 alignment pins and the grommet, so I lined those up, pushed those down in there, tightened up the 10 millimeter bolt so that's secure. And then with my inlet plenum ductwork, just line them up and push them in. They should snap right in. This side over here, just grab. You see I just pulled it, how it just snaps right in, and now that is set. So all left we do now is to put our air filter, the front of the box, back in and connect it up to our inlet and put the band back on, and we will be done. Okay, so this band clamp, that's going to be securing our air inlet flex tube here to the front air box. A lot of people say once you open them up, they're destroyed, you can't reuse them. Well, I've been reusing these things all the time, and it's very simple. All I gotta do, I'll show you, I'll put it in a vise on this part, and then I'm gonna put a screwdriver in here to open it up, so I can basically put this clamp around and then reclamp it when I'm done. Okay, as you see, I got the band clamp in my vise, and I'm just gonna use my screwdriver, just open it up a little bit more that way, turn it this way, open it up a little bit that way, and that should be plain enough to get it on there. And then we have our tool. Let's go to compress this again and reclamp it in once we get it installed. Okay, as I mentioned, we just expanded this part of the band clamp a little bit, and we got everything set. We got our tool here. Just gonna put it right on here. Give it a good little squeeze. And that clamp is tight and back installed again. Reused, no issues. Okay, so before we put the front cover on, we're going to start it up and see how everything sounds and how it looks. Hey folks, better job, well done. Burn like a kitten. No noise, no squeak. All you hear are the lovely injectors clicking. And both the main serpentine belt, everything's lined up correctly, and there's our water pump down here on the bottom. Everything's running great. So now let's put this front cover on the engine compartment, and we'll consider it done. right, folks, that's enough for the day. We are complete. All we gotta do now is get all cleaned up, and you can see outside it's a beautiful day to go for a ride. So a couple of things I just wanted to mention here. Let me go over to the workbench. This stretch belt tool kit that I got it from Amazon. Best $8-9 you're gonna spend. It saves a lot of time. It's really easy. Now I know that there are a lot of different products out there, but I like this one because sometimes they're plastic, and you know, I just don't trust plastic when putting belts on and everything, because you know they can just get distorted easily and stuff. But these right here are very robust. These are aluminum, and like I said, this is the one for the install, this is the one for the removal, and you can see in the video how they worked out really well. So Amazon, $8, $9, well worth it. And also at the end of the video, I'm going to be putting just a couple photos for Formula Dynamics, and also for Amazon for that, where I got that belt stretch tool removal kit from. So that's it for right now. Hope you enjoyed the video. Basic mechanics, this is something simple to do. Of course I did a lot of recording, but honestly it took me probably less than 45 minutes to do. So hope you enjoy this. Spread the word, save yourself $1,000 by doing it yourself. So like the belts only cost like about a total of $156 total. And that's from Formula Dynamics, which will also be a photo with that at the end of the video as well. But please like my channel, thumbs up. Maserati, signing off. Have a blessed day, everybody.